Grinding all my life, sacrifice, hustle paid the price, want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life, look, all my life, been grinding all my life, sacrifice, hustle paid the price, want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life, look.
Said it earlier in the year, man. I don't know where this trolling bullshit has come from, where it's the internet controls the narrative about these players. It's becoming foolish, man. Like I said earlier in the year, that's one of the most special players to ever lace his shoes up. Get this dude his flowers, man. I don't understand the slander. It's becoming quite silly now. Like, respect these players, man. Respect these greats.
What up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to the Ball Dnt Lie podcast. This is your boy Dexter, your host, the one and only. Welcome back to another show. And we're going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns and the Clippers and what just happened. It was insane. It was bonkers. The game was actually not what a lot of people were expecting it to be. And we're going to go ahead and break that down for you as far as me. And it's amazing for the slander that PG is getting. And I'll go ahead and talk about that too in a second. But a lot of kudos to PG for what he did, because the closeout games are tough to win. It's tough to win, and it's been known. So Phoenix Suns, they collapsed even though they had all the chances in the world to win this game. They just had a dud, basically. They played bad overall on all accounts. Everybody from the head coach all the way down to the bench player all played terrible, even though there was a lot of points in this game. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the home situation. If you are new to this channel for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, smash that like button, because every single time that happens, it brings our content to the top, and it does help out with the algorithm on YouTube. And we're on every streaming platform. As far as any podcast you can think of, we're on there. And if you've been tuning in and been watching, for the ones that are out there, I know who you are. I appreciate the love. I can't thank y'all enough. So enough about that. And let's just go ahead and just, get into this whole situation with this with the Game 5 situation. It was to me, I enjoyed it. I like it. I like playoff games because without the fans, like the bubble situation, I wasn't really, I wasn't into it. It's different when you got the fans yelling and cheering and booing you and, chanting all kinds of stuff, man. It makes the game more actual a game, because pressure. These are the situations why players can't perform under pressure. And this is exactly what happened in Game 5. If this was the bubble, who knows? Maybe the Suns would have won. But let's go ahead and just talk about the Clippers situation, because I'm going to be talking about the Clippers a lot in this episode, because they deserve Game 5. How they played from the rip into the fourth quarter, like they pretty much just dominated the whole entire time, even though the Suns came back and took the lead here and there. But the Clippers are the ones that pretty much just controlled the whole entire game. Paul George is having one crazy-ass playoffs. The dude is going crazy, and yet we're still getting PG slanders. And I know all y'all trying to kill PG for those free throws. Yeah, those two critical free throws that you missed, Paul George, I mean, no one's going to forget about that, because that cost you to lose that game. Imagine if you made those free throws. Who knows? You could have won that game, right? But you cost the game by missing two, and you're a pretty good free throw shooter. But overall, Paul George has been playing great. This is the Paul George that we're accustomed to seeing. This is the Paul George we know in Indiana. Like when he was playing the Pacers, he was that guy. And ever since he went to OKC, all I've been hearing about is PG slanders. Why do you think KD left OKC? It's because Russ. And then PG comes there and tries to fill the shoes of KD, which he obviously couldn't. And then you had Russ controlling the games. And then when they lost to Utah Jazz, that was on Russ. And when they lost to the Portland Blazers, even though Dame hit that shot and he waved by to Russell Westbrook, because they had their own internal beef, which has been well documented. Paul George is not the type of guy to stand in the corner. Paul George is not the type of guy to get pinned down screens the whole entire game. He needs to be the creative guy. Get the ball in his hands, do his thing. So he had a crazy playoff this year. And in the 18 games, and I go and post this pick right here, in the 18 games, and he's in an exclusive club, he's dropping more than 20 points a game in the 18 games he played so far in the playoffs. And look at this club that he's in. MJ's in it. Paul George is in it. So you got to tip your head off to Paul George. And in the closeout game, he came out and he performed. And he played great. Obviously, he had Reggie Jackson and he had other guys, the others that came and performed with him. But Paul George led the cavalry. And it just let this sink for a second. Just let this just marinate. Like, just stay with me for a second. Ever since Kawhi got hurt in Game 4 against the Utah Jazz, Paul George has been averaging 31.3 points a game. Paul George has been averaging 11 rebounds. 11 rebounds and 6 dimes. So 31 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists since Kawhi went down. Matter of fact, let me give you something else. And probably most of you guys don't even know this. Paul George leads all players in the playoff in points and minutes. And yet, we're still killing Paul George. Playoff P. Pandemic P. Right? Oh, he's a choke artist. He can't make his free throws. But yet, he's a guy that the whole entire defense is focused on. You have to understand this. He had Royce O'Neal guarding him, which is a pretty good defender. He had Joe Ingles guarding him, trying to give him, tough shots, right? And he panned out to beat those guys. Then he comes into this series, and he's playing against he's been guarded by Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder and Cameron Johnson. And 2 of those guys are good defenders. And yet he's giving you 30-plus points or so, or 31 points in this playoffs since Kawhi went down. PG had 41 points tonight in Game 5. 41 points on 15 of 20 shots. He shot 20 shots, made 41 points, and he made 15 of those. And the guy was attacking the basket consistently. Majority of his shots came inside. They couldn't stop him. And others for the Clippers came through tonight. Morris had 22 points. And I think he shot 8 for 16, I believe. Or 9 for 16. He had 22 points, 9 for 16 from the field. RJ, a.k.a. Reggie Jackson, vice versa. Reggie Jackson, a.k.a. RJ, that guy who's about to get the bag this summer, had 23 points. And what a year he's having. The guy is balling in the playoffs. And if you guys haven't been watching this closely, this is just me. The team plays better with Paul George than they play with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, the way he plays, reminds me of San Antonio. Very methodic, very slow, very predictable, no flashes. And then it seems like nobody else is in rhythm. It's like, okay, here Kawhi, okay, here Paul George. But when Paul George is in the game and Kawhi is not in the game was so fluid. I think they should run the offense through Paul George if Kawhi ever comes back. My personal opinion. Because the game moves more fluid with that team. Look at, you have Morris who's balling because of Kawhi's out, so his minutes went up, right? But he's getting the ball. PG's giving him the ball. Kawhi doesn't really give you the ball like that. Reggie Jackson is having a time of his life. He's about to get paid this summer. Pat Bev has been he was born again. He lost his minutes, disappeared, and ended up coming back, and he's having one of the greatest series of his career as far as playing defense and giving the energy. He's locking up Devin Booker, giving him hard times. Devin Booker's playing terrible in the series as far as, forget about Game 1, where he had 40 points in the triple-double, right? Ever since then, Pat Bev's been on him. He's been struggling. So Pat Bev was reinserted and came back. Terrence Mann had career numbers in the playoffs. Matter of fact, these are career numbers overall, including season. Career numbers in the playoffs. But I didn't see that when Kawhi was here. Boogie Cousins comes back to life, gives you 15 points off the bench. I didn't see that when Kawhi was here. And I'm not trying to harp on Kawhi. Kawhi is obviously your best player. the Phoenix Suns is playing against a depleted team. You're missing. He is the best player in the series. If Kawhi was playing, Kawhi is the best player in both sides of this team. We know that. But when they have Kawhi, they don't play the same way. The ball does not move the way it moves when the Clippers. This ball moves in circle. I remember in Game 3 in LA, it went from one side to another, to the middle, to the paint, back out to the outside for the three. That doesn't happen because when the ball goes to Kawhi, he's going to go to his spot and he's going to raise up on you, or he's going to go to the basket. Like I said, Kawhi's game is very predictable, very boring, but it's effective. And that's why he's so good at what he does on both sides of the court. But yeah, man, Boogie Cousins came through tonight. I'm happy for Boogs. He had a long path from, coming back from his Achilles injury. Give you 15 points, give you energy, give you physicality, give you some toughness. That's what they needed. Even though, no knock to, Zubac, but Boogie Cousins can be inside, outside. He can bang on you. You got a couple posters in the series so far. But like I said, PG's averaging 30 points, 31 points basically, 11 boards, 6 dimes ever since Kawhi went down. Clippers dominated. They dominated the first quarter. If you look at both sides of the team, right, statistically, as far as team points per quarter, the Clippers had 36 points in the first, almost damn near 40 points in the first quarter. That's half of what they pretty much scored in Game 4. They scored that in the first quarter. And in the third quarter, the Clippers dropped 32 points. But the Phoenix Suns couldn't crack a 30-point quarter in any of the 4 quarters in Game 5. And then what did they tell you? What is the most important quarters in the game? It's the first quarter, because that dictates how you're going to play well in the game. Most of the time, majority of the time. And in the third quarter, when you come in at halftime, whoever controls the third quarter, you have to play well in the fourth quarter no matter what. But whoever controls the third quarter has a clear shot of winning the fourth quarter, which gives you a bigger shot of winning the game if you're up. So they scored 36 in the first, 32 in the third quarter as far as the Clippers, and the Phoenix Suns cannot crack that. And like I said, this episode is going to be all about Paul George. Let me run his numbers his last 10 games in the playoffs. Paul George, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. 31 points, 3 boards, 5 assists. 31 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. 37 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists. 28 points, 9 boards, 7 assists. 34 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. 26 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. 27 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists. 23 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists. 41 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. That's crazy. The guy is playing at an ultimate high. Like, he's at a level that a lot of players who are great were at that level. So the slander got to stop. It has to stop. Pandemic P, I've been hearing it for the last couple of years. And yeah, I was part of the wave too when I was saying it, because I was so hot. I know how good this guy was, or how good he is to be performing like that. But when he's the pinnacle, when he is the man, when he's in charge of the helm, when he leads the cavalry in the gang, he is explosive. He can give it to you in any way. He can hit you from the outside. He can hit you with the hesitation, shoot over you, or go to the basket, do some Euros, floaters, reverse layups, whatever it may be. He has the whole entire package. He can score from all kinds, anywhere in the court. Anywhere in the court. So let's speak about the Suns, because this is where I'm about to dig into these guys quick. I want the Phoenix Suns to win, because I want the city of Phoenix, the state of Arizona, to actually have an NBA Finals, because they deserve it. It's been a long time since they've been in the NBA Finals, since '93 against the Chicago Bulls when they lost to Michael Jordan and company. But don't get it twisted. Even if the Clippers go to the NBA Finals, it's going to be lit in LA, because LA just won last year as far as the Lakers. So all the Clipper fans are going to be, that city's going to be turned. Forget about winning the NBA Finals. Just to be in the NBA Finals, LA is going to be lit as well. Either way, it's going to be history for either these two teams that make it to the NBA Finals. But Phoenix Suns, I don't get it. I literally don't get it. DeAndre Ayton is your anchor. He's doing everything he can on the defensive side, and he's getting you rebounds. He's in double-digit rebounds every single game in the series. But yet, he gives you 10 points because of you guys, because of Chris Paul, because of Devin Booker. How you allow this? This guy can give you 20 and 10, and in most cases, you will win. But when you're struggling, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul too, when you're struggling as well, I don't get why he can't get the ball. Because so far, what I saw in the playoffs, he's been efficient. He's the most efficient player. And you know what's crazy? He don't even ask for the ball. He doesn't demand for the basketball. I don't get why he can't get you guys those points. Why you guys can't feed him. They need to give D.A. the ball. And I guarantee you, he will not have 10 points in Game 6. I guarantee you that. Chris Paul, CP3, every single time they won a series or won games, Chris Paul's been getting all the praises. Oh, he deserves to get to the NBA Finals. Oh, he deserves it. You know, Chris Paul's one of the best point guards of all time. Point God. That's all I've been hearing, right? But in this series, he is struggling. I'm looking at the numbers. Dude missed 41 of his shots out of 60. 41 out of 60 shots have been missed. I don't know what else to tell you. How you going to tell me that's good? How you going to give Chris Paul all the praises, but no flack? And ain't no one talking about it either. There's not one media outlet out there talking about Chris Paul's struggles. They're talking about Devin Booker, but not CP3. You can't win like that. You missed 41 shots out of 60? That's pathetic. Even though CP3 had 22 points tonight in Game 5, he shot for 8 for 19. He took 19 shots. Those 19 shots I would have given to DA, DeAndre Ayton. Even though Chris Paul is good to mid-range, you missed 41 shots, and I'm not going to let that go. So Game 6, I'm going to see your numbers. And numbers don't lie. Like Jay-Z said, women lie, numbers don't, right? And when it comes to the plus minus on the court, the whole entire team were negatives today. Obviously because they lost, right? But Chris Paul was negative 15 on the basketball court tonight. Devin Booker, I don't know where were you at, Devin Booker? You was minus 22 yourself. You can't win like that. And supposedly they're praising Devin Booker that he is the next Kobe Bryant. That's all I've been hearing. Kobe never shot like this. Forget about your Game 1 triple-double 40-point piece. Game 2, 3, 4, and 5? Where have you been, Book? And I get it, you got a broken nose and all that. But even prior to that, you shot terrible. Despite him having 31 points tonight, he shot 9 for 22. 9 for 2-2 from the field. And gave you 31 points. I mean, he shot good in the free throw line. But that's not Kobe. Kobe don't do that. So I don't want to hear no comparison about D-Book and Kobe. And they only had 4 guys in double figures today. 4 guys. Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker. And the fourth guy they had came off the bench, Cameron Johnson, who shot 5 for 6 and gave you 15 points. That guy's a good shooter, and he can go to the basket. But he's not consistent. The 2 guys that, I don't know, where have you been? Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, I think they both combined for like 15 points or somewhere around that ballpark. Like, I get it. You're defensive gurus. I get it. But you guys cannot shoot 6 points. Mikal Bridges can't have 6 points. Jay Crowder cannot give you 8 points. He has to give you 12, 13. Mikal Bridges got to give you double-digit points. And the reason why they didn't have that is because of Devin Booker and Chris Paul want the ball themselves. They both shot, like, Chris Paul shot 19 times. Devin Booker shot 22. Devin Booker should be shooting 30. Mikal Bridges should be shooting 10. And Chris Paul, I get it. You want to shoot 19? I get it. But you're not efficient either. You've been missing shots all series. So the bench, who's been good for the Phoenix Suns, did not pan out today. Only person that performed today was Cameron Johnson. They used Nader. If you don't know who Nader is, Nader came from OKC. In the package trade, I think so. I might be wrong. He might be in the package that was shipped to Phoenix with CP3. Nader is that Egyptian baller who came out of, I think, Ohio. No, not Ohio. Iowa. Iowa State or Iowa, one of them. He's all right. But when you put him in, that just tells you they're struggling to get points up from the bench. So I'm not expecting to see him in game 6. I'm not expecting that at all. And what needs to happen in game 6 in LA, Devin Booker has to figure out how to get out of these woes, these struggling woes. Because if you don't, PG and company going to force a game 7. And game 7 at your house, who do you think has the more pressure? Like you up 3-1. Closeout games are tough. The Clippers have nothing to lose. Expectations that they're not going to win anyways. But they came and outperformed you. Now you go to LA. Pressure is going to be on the Clippers, but they're at home. And then so far, PG and them still playing well in Reggie Jackson. If they win game 6, the pressure is going to be on Phoenix. And if they collapse, they're going to be talking about Chris Paul and Devin Booker's woes as far as shooting. But we're going to see what's going to happen. Paul George had a great game. I'm going to post this clip for you guys right here of Boogie Cousins, what he got to say about the slander that PG's been getting. So, I hope y'all just check this out for a second. Go ahead and run that clip for me.
Said it earlier in the year, man. I don't know where this trolling bullshit has come from, where the internet controls the narrative about these players. It's becoming foolish, man. Like I said earlier in the year, that's one of the most special players to ever lace his shoes up. Get this dude his flowers, man. I don't understand the slander. It's becoming quite silly now. Like, respect these players, man. Respect these greats.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Even I know. We fans, we can't really speak to what they go through because we don't go through that, right? But Paul George is no scrub. Paul George is a multiple all-star. He's an Olympian. Paul George can give you buckets. Paul George has been in a lot of playoff games. So don't hate on the guy because he missed a couple of free throws. And all that pandemic stuff I've been hearing, that got to go out the window. The way he's playing right now in this season, y'all better give his respect because his respect has been past due. For real. No cap. So we're going to go ahead and, this is a wrap for this episode, but the next one's going to be on the Hawks and Bucks. It's going to be game 4 in Atlanta. And so far, we all know about, Trae Young's injury. He got a bone bruise, but he said he's going to play through it, though. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Nuck if you buck. You know that song, right? I hope Atlanta wins because I want this to be going out, game 6, game 7. That's what I want. But realistically, Milwaukee might just end it in game 5. That's just my opinion, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and break down the next game for you guys for sure tomorrow after game 4 in Atlanta. But keep your eyes on game 6 with the Clippers and the Suns because that's going to be probably the most watched game in the series because two things are going to happen. Either they're going to force a game 7 or Phoenix is going to win in LA and go to the NBA Finals. So everybody's going to be watching that game. So tune in for after that. I'm going to be talking about that. Until then, I appreciate the love. Y'all be safe. And I appreciate all y'all for tuning in. showing support. Until then, y'all be safe out there. Peace. One love.